Today we have the distinct pleasure of being with His Divine Grace Srila Bhavananda Vishnupad Maharaj here in the center of Hollywood at Grauman's Chinese Theater. Today we'd like to pose various questions that are typically posed by members of the public and getting answers according to the Vedic version about Hollywood and the current scene. Today, Srila Vishnupad, we are standing at Grauman's Chinese Theater, and Hollywood itself is considered to be the mecca for entertainment. And we have so many theaters and entertaining activities going on here. So what is wrong with coming to Hollywood to live out one's dreams and fantasies?
Well, I think that it's very important thing to note, if you look around, how all of these people have come here to worship. Everyone is looking for a personality to worship. All of these movie stars, who most of them are dead and gone now, but the people are coming, they want someone to worship, someone they can look up to, someone they can follow. But the problem is that with worshiping these movie stars, there's no reciprocation. There's no loving reciprocation. We are encouraging people, you worship Krishna, you worship God, this is your real position. Krishna says, Manmana bhavamad bhakta madjaji mang namaskuru, that you become my devotee, you worship me. And what he promises is, if you do that, Manmana bhavamad bhakta madjaji mang namaskuru mari vaisyasi yuktvaivam atmana matparaya jana, that if you become fully absorbed in me, I will take you to me. No one here, their footprints, their handprints are in the ground. No one can make that promise to these people. That if you worship Esther Williams, or you worship Ali McGraw, or you worship Judy Garland, or any of these personalities, what can they do for you? There's no reciprocation. It's only take, take, take.
Is there anything wrong with these actors, etc., trying to become famous in their own right because they do have this talent? Isn't it not correct for them to try to bring that out to its fullest extent?
If you have any talent, then that talent should be utilized in the service of Krishna, then you become perfect. But when you use that talent, or you have some particular talent, you use it to try and glorify yourself, then that will take you down to hell. But everything can be utilized in the service of Krishna. If you're a great singer, then you sing about Krishna. If you're a great dancer, then you dance ballet about Krishna. If you're a great writer, you write books about Krishna. Any talent that you have, any qualification which you have, which makes you special, if you utilize that in the service of Krishna, then you become perfect. So now let's take a little tour around this great citadel of Maya called Hollywood, and see what exactly is wrong with Hollywood.
Yeah, they have smiles on their faces.
So vacation means just that, it's temporary. Vacation means that, it's temporary. Maybe one day vacation, weekend vacation, or 2-week vacation, but it's temporary. And they have a smile on their face, it's temporary. They don't keep a smile on their face all the time. Because their senses are being encouraged a little bit, do a little bit of enjoyment. But dushparein analena cha, those senses are never satisfied. Never satisfied. They burn like fire. Dushparein analena cha, and they're never satisfied. Therefore, crazier and crazier and crazier the world is becoming. I was coming down this Sunset Boulevard the other day, and I was struck by this billboard, Sinatra Trilogy, Past, Present, and Future. And I was thinking, that we've been instructed to see with Shastric vision through the eyes of the Shastra. This is how we can maintain our activities in this material world and not be implicated in the results of those activities, by seeing everything not with an eye to enjoying, but with an eye to understanding the message of Krishna. Just like this billboard, past, present, future. Now here is the whole substance of the material illusion on one billboard. Here's an old man reading a long, long sheet of music. He's had a past, he is at present, but what the future holds for him, he has no idea. This billboard would have been perfect if after the future they had put a question mark. Now, everyone knows I've done activities in the past, I am at present, but what the future holds, I have no idea. And no one is acting in any way to secure their future. No one understands that for all their activities, everything is written down. This is the law of karma. Everything they do is recorded. For every action they perform, there's a reaction. And that action and reaction, that entanglement in the actions and reactions of their past activities will determine their future.
But these personalities are giving great pleasure and enjoyment to the masses here within society.
Well, there are different levels of enjoyment. There is enjoyment in ignorance, enjoyment in passion, and there is enjoyment in goodness. And there is enjoyment in Krishna consciousness. We're not trying to have people not enjoy, but we're trying to tell them the proper way to enjoy. You can enjoy through Krishna, and that enjoyment stays with you. There's no question of past enjoyment, no question of present, and no question of future, but it is eternal, outside of the dictates of this material nature. That is the enjoyment which comes from chanting Hare Krishna. We were just talking about this billboard, that past for your activities and present for your activities determine the kind of body you'll get in the future.
Exactly. That's it. That's it, because look at this body. I mean, this is the body of a 26-year-old woman, I swear. 26.
Nice meeting you.
God bless you. Dude, that's me.
It's been stated that here in LA and Hollywood especially, that it's not so much who you are, but what you wear, where you live, and what you drive.
Who said that?
Could you comment on this?
Who said it? A very, very intelligent person said that. Actually, this is another illusion that Prabhupada gives the example that mistaking something to be you which is not you. Just like if you're driving down the road in your car and you're very much attached to your car and you're always washing your car and cleaning your car and repairing your car, and then someone hits your car, the immediate reaction is, oh, he's hit me. This is mistaken identification. The man is thinking that he is his car. In the same way, people are thinking that they are their body, and they're losing sight of the real identity of the living entity as pure spirit soul, part and parcel of the sublimely beautiful Krishna who is dwelling within this body. This body is simply a covering, just like the car is covering the driver. But because he's identifying with the car, when there's an accident, he thinks, oh, I've been hit. Just like, here's a beautiful car. A pretty wonderful contraption. And it brings some pleasure. But how long can you drive around in the car? How long can you drive around in there? It brings you pleasure, but you can't drive forever. Just like someone may say, well, I get such pleasure from dance. You can't dance forever. You can't sing forever. You can't swim forever. You can't have sex forever. These things are all fleeting, temporary. You can drive 1 mile, 10 miles, 100 miles, but eventually you run out of gas. Then you're stuck. And what is the value of your beautiful car? Similarly, you may have a beautiful body, and you may be going at full speed, enjoy, but eventually you're going to run out of gas. Then you're stuck. Now what do I do? This is how you have to see things, with this kind of vision. They're not able to see.
That the wealth is?
Yes, that this is the perfection
Goal
of
of
their life. But always underneath is that deep-seated gnawing anxiety that it will all be taken from me at the moment of death.
It's actually a mystery of life, this process that is called death. Maybe we can get some understanding from the Vedic viewpoint as to your understanding of what death actually means.
Actually, there's one shloka in the Bhagavad Gita which explains very simply the process of death. Na jayate mrijite ba kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita ba na bhuja aja nitya sasvato jam purano na hanjate hanjamane sarire. That the soul, the living entity within the body, the oldest of all, unborn, primeval, undying, does not die when the body dies. So for those who are followers of the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, the moment of death of a loved one, of a family member, it brings no remorse. Just like in India, in Calcutta, I have two disciples, the Nandi family. So Ma Nandi, her youngest son died on Lord Nrsingadev's appearance day. He drowned in a pukur while swimming. So 2 days later they came out to our ashram at Mayapur, and I said to one of my godbrothers when I saw them coming across the park, oh, that must have been some rumor that the Nandi's youngest son died, because Ma Nandi's so happy. She always chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. I said, obviously her youngest son couldn't have just died. But when she sat down, she was talking to me, her youngest son had died. But because she had this philosophical realization that the soul never dies, at the cremation, because in our Vedic society, the civilized cultures, they burn the bodies, not put them in the ground. At the cremation, all the people were saying, well, why aren't you crying? Why aren't you crying? She said, what is to cry? The soul comes, it goes. Just as the soul has come in my womb, the body has developed in my womb, this entity has gone through different life cycle, now it's time for him to go. So the soul has come, it is gone.
What is the difference between your philosophy and the Judeo-Christian philosophy that one either goes to heaven or to hell at the time of death?
Well, we also accept that according to one's sukriti or pious activities, or one's pap or sinful activities, that determines where you go. Either you are taken to the lower planetary systems for punishment, or you are taken to the higher planetary systems for reward for your pious activities. But in the Krishna conscious philosophy, if you devote your life, that shloka I repeated earlier in Sunset Boulevard. Manmana bhava mad bhakta madhyaji mang namaskuru mariva yasyasi yuktvaivam atmana mat parayajana. If you always think of me, Krishna says, and become my devotee and worship me and bow down to me, then being fully absorbed in me at the moment of death, you come to me.
Do you also believe then that if one is sent to hell, that is eternal?
No. There is no such thing as eternal condemnation. God is not so cruel.
So, according to your philosophy, that if one is a human being, that it's possible, according to his whatever his life is, that he can take a dog body in his next life?
If you perform dog-like activities, you become a dog. You may not like to accept that, but it's a fact. So that someone has to be born as a dog, and you can't ever get me to believe that all these people walking up and down Sunset Boulevard and Hollywood, Miss Piggy on Sunset Boulevard, she's going to become a pig. That's what she wants. She's 3/4 of the way there already.
Well, some people may say that it's what's wrong with the dog.
This is practical experience. Anyone who got a gander of Miss Piggy today, with that body, if you've ever seen the pigs in Vrindavan, because I live in Vrindavan, there are many pigs there, and the mother pigs all have big breasts that just drag along the ground, just like this woman on the Sunset Boulevard. Unbelievable. What more proof do you need? I'm coming here tomorrow to preach. Not that we say, oh, it is so opulent and we can't go there. This is some mistake in the thinking. We go to Bel Air, but we preach about Krishna. By preaching about Krishna, we don't become attached to all of this.
So you can live anywhere, whether it be opulent or not
We
opulent.
can live anywhere, but to renounce the opulent place, which can be used in Krishna's service, thinking that it's Maya. That is Maya. Rupa Goswami taught Yukta Vairagya, that everything has to be utilized in the service of Krishna, because everything belongs to him.
Should one make the goal of his life to come up to this standard of opulence? Should he try to get an opulent house?
No, you should make the goal of your life to love Krishna, develop your love for Krishna. Then you'll be able to handle everything that comes your way. You may have an opulent environment, or you may have a poverty-stricken environment. But in any case, whether you're rich, or whether you're poor, or whether you're in the middle, you should develop your love for Krishna.
A proper activity that one can actually derive some benefit from exercising the body.
Well, there's no harm in exercising the body, but this is ridiculous. You know, according to the Bhagavad Gita, according to your mentality, that will decide the kind of body that you receive in your next life. Just like if you utilize this life for sleeping, all you want to do is sleep. So in your next life, Krishna gives you a body in which you can sleep very nicely. You can become a bear or some animal like that. And if you want to utilize your life for having lots of sex, many times a day you're thinking, I want to have sex, I want to have sex. So then in your next life you can become a pigeon, because they have sex 60, 70, 80 times a day with no problem. So similarly, if you want to get a big body like this, so Krishna will fulfill your desire. In your next life you can become an elephant or some big animal like that.
What do you say, 60 times a day?
Oh, pigeons have a body which is equipped for having sex 60, 70, 80 times a day. If you ever were brought up in New York City, you see the pigeons at Herald Square. They're having sex all day. Their body is equipped for that. So according to your desire, you get that kind of body. So if you're desiring to have sex all day, all night, so in your next life, Krishna gives you that body, you can become a pigeon.
What does that symbol on your face represent?
It shows that I'm a follower of Krishna or Vishnu, God.
What do you say about, like, in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, when Jesus talks about the body, he talks about, he says that this is your temple, look after this, this is your temple. And in this, I know Krishna, or he talks about Christ, he was acting under instructions of Krishna, but he says, you take care of this body. Now, if you got a few teeth rotten or something like that, is it sinful or improper to neglect this, or should you take care of that?
No,
the relationship with your body.
We don't say to neglect the body, but it's not, doesn't require so much excessive care. You take care of the practical functionings of the body. If you're sick, then you can go to a doctor, you can take medicine. But to lavish so much attention on the body is not necessary. It's a waste of the human form of life. We're very practical.
That feels right to me. It just feels right.
It is right.
In my head, it feels right. It's comfortable. Yeah. Well, very nice.
Do you have any questions?
Oh yeah. Why is you?
Huh?
Can I touch your hair?
Sure.
You don't mind?
No.
Can I ask you one final question? What's in the name? Okay, the Buddhists have Buddha, the Islamics have whoever they have, and you got everybody, Muhammad, and the Christian have Jesus Christ. Everybody has somebody, and they all seem to be talking about going for the same thing, to improve your life here, so you can have a higher spiritual level in your passing. Okay, what's the problem? Why do everybody has to have a certain name? Okay, the teacher of your religion comes from one geographical location.
No, but God is one. Same God.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
God is one. He has unlimited names to designate his unlimited qualities. Some call him Allah, some call him Jehovah, Adonai, Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. God is full with all potence, all opulence. He's the most powerful, he's the most beautiful, he's the most famous,
Okay, we
the most
understand our
intelligent.
definition.
How about to each other before you go to God?
Automatically that will happen. If you love God, then you love all of his creation. Right? He's created everything. And if you have the proper respect and love for God, then you'll have the proper respect and love for all of his creation.
The question is, what if you can, if we are with a human mind, can form and describe what is God?
No, it's not a matter of speculation, but in the human form of consciousness, you can understand God. You have a consciousness and intelligence which is developed so that you can understand God. But God is not subject to our speculation. But in this human form of life, you have the developed consciousness by which you can understand, when told about God, the knowledge is coming down from God, from Krishna.
So why to form it? Why to form body on God? Why is that for?
Oh, you're thinking that a body is limited.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, but that is, your body is limited, my body is limited, but God's body is unlimited.
Well, I guess it's a question of belief or non-belief as far as that point. I'll go for
Question
any...
of understanding. Oh, but ultimately you have to have some faith in someone. Everyone is putting their faith in someone and something. You're putting your faith in so many things that you walk down the street that you won't be killed, or you get in a plane that you won't crash. You're placing your faith in so many things. So we're placing our faith in God.
I respect for that.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Wow, look at that. This is called enjoyment in the material world. Fall on your ass and scrape it off down the sidewalk, and they think they're enjoying it.
Here we are standing live at the Forum in Los Angeles, the home of the Los Angeles Lakers, who have just won the National Basketball Championship. Now, according to the Vedic version, how is this in agreement or not in agreement with your idea of competition?
Well, our understanding of competition is to compete, to act in a way to get the attention of Krishna. There's nothing wrong with competition, but it's the consciousness behind the competition. In this competition, basketball competition, let's say, that's under the dictate of the mode of passion. If you win, you're elated. If you lose, you're depressed. But in our competition, transcendental competition, then if you win, you win. And if you lose, you also win. Because you're acting for Krishna. Let me give you an example of how their competition can kill you. I had a friend whose father was a Beverly Hills lawyer. So their family pastime was gambling. The father liked to bet the horses. And on vacation, the whole family would go from track to track to track. So they were at one racetrack, and the father had a real long shot, and he won $100,000 ticket he had in his hand. It was a big day for him. He was so excited and happy. He was so happy and excited. I've won $100,000. And even more because they didn't need the money, but the fact that he had won that competition. And he was rushing to the ticket window to collect the money, and he fell down dead with a heart attack. And the ticket went out of his hand, and he's lying there dead, and the wife is completely crazy whether she should look after her husband, whether she should look for the ticket, what to do. But that competition killed him, and he didn't go to Krishna, but he became a horse. So, according to the Vedic version, according to the Bhagavad Gita, what your consciousness is at the moment of death, that's the kind of body that you get. This is the danger of all these sporting activities. That if you're performing your sporting activity but you're thinking of Krishna, that's all right. But if you're thinking of the horse, what if you die? No one knows when they're going to die. So foolish people, they don't think they're ever going to die. And no one knows when the moment of death will come, and what you're doing, that's the kind of body you get. So just like in one life you may be enjoying watching the horses run around and run around and run around the track, knocking themselves out, in your next life you're going to be on the track running around and around.
This is actually a trend that has been prevalent over the last few years that we've seen not only here in Hollywood and Los Angeles area, but all over the country, an increase in vegetarianism. Is this a positive sign that we're seeing?
Yes, it's a positive sign, but it's not the goal of life, because the pigeons are also vegetarian, and the goal of life is not to become a pigeon. But it's a definite help to developing your higher spiritual consciousness is if you stop eating meat.
So by becoming a vegetarian, is that not a start to becoming pure?
Well, purity means to be sinless, and sinless means to be free from all karma. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if you eat foodstuff which is not offered to me in sacrifice first, then that verily you are eating sin. So our Krishna consciousness process, everything is offered, prepared for Krishna, offered to Krishna with love, and Krishna accepts that love, and that food becomes sinless food, spiritual food, prasadam.
How do you practically offer something to God if you cannot see Him?
You can see God. We have so many deities, and there are so many pictures of God. You can offer your foodstuffs to those pictures, you can offer your foodstuffs to those deities, or you can offer your foodstuffs to the deity in the mind.
So it is sufficient enough to pray to God or to give thanks to God before you eat?
Must do. But you should also, the food should be prepared for Him. What's your name?
What? Valerie.
Are you a meat eater, Valerie?
Sometimes. Not a lot.
Why sometimes? Why don't you just give it all up?
Because just sometimes it's the only thing to eat. Just sometimes it's just there to eat, and you just eat it.
Do you think that that's sinful to eat meat?
No, I just think, I don't like it that much. I like vegetables better. But I don't think it's sinful.
What would you say to this example? What's your name?
Jill.
You know, the cow, you were raised on cow's milk. I was raised on cow's milk. Everyone is raised on cow's milk. So she's given us her milk. That means she's our mother. Correct?
Yes, but we don't kill the cows that we give milk.
When that cow that gives milk stops giving milk when she's old, then they kill it. Do you think that's a very nice thing?
No.
No.
What do your parents do?
My dad's a doctor, and my mom just, I don't know. She
Housewife.
No.
What does your father do?
My real dad says he owns a meat store. I'm sorry, but he owns a meat store. It's in Florida. Weiss Meats.
Weiss Meats. Anyway, you should preach to your dad, Mr. Weiss, that this meat-eating, cow-killing is not a very nice thing. He's going to have to suffer so much in his next life for all the animals that he's responsible for killing. That's called karma. Therefore, all their social welfare work ultimately won't be successful. Unless you change the condition of the heart, just changing the geographic location or taking someone in the modes of ignorance and putting them in a nice environment isn't going to change them. You have to change their heart. That's the real welfare work. That's why it never succeeds. Just like they'll bus someone from a ghetto to a nice neighborhood, put them in that school. what is the result? The result is that the standard of the school goes down, not that they come up. Because you can't help people by changing the external. You have to change internally, the condition of the heart. Therefore, Prabhupada said that your prison system, it doesn't work. You may put a man in the prison, but when he gets out again, he commits the crime. You have to change his heart.
And meditation is becoming a more and more popular activity now. What is actually the goal of meditation according to the Vedic philosophy?
According to Bhagavad Gita, Joginam api sarvesam adgitenantaratmanam swarhavan bhajate jomam same yuktatamamata. The goal of meditation is to remember Krishna.
In the search for the absolute truth, there seems to be two seekers, those that believe that the absolute truth is impersonal or a bright white light or some energy, and those who have the conception that God has a personal form. What is the Vedic conception on this?
Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Sabdite. The Brahman, effulgence, truth, the Paramatma, localized form of the Lord within every living entity, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, Krishna. These are all aspects of the absolute truth, but the complete picture is within Krishna.
There's a popular notion that because we live in this modern hectic society and everyone is in a great state of anxiety, that the goal of meditation is to create a peaceful mind, and therefore one can go on in his activities in a happier state.
It's true that you can understand higher spiritual truth unless the mind is peaceful. And Krishna says, without a peaceful mind, there's no question of happiness. So how to attain a peaceful mind, that is the process of Krishna consciousness.
But on a mountain, for example, there may be many paths that lead to that same top, it's the same goal. So isn't it true in the same way that there are also many paths in spiritual life to reach that same goal of God?
Bogus philosophy, that's the philosophy of Vivekananda, yatamat tatapat. That whatever path you take, it will lead you to the goal. But that makes no sense. Just like if I get on a train, I want to go to New York, but I get on the train to San Francisco. Will I go to New York?
But eventually you may reach that goal of New York. Maybe not as soon as someone else.
Why eventually? If you have no direction, how do you know you'll reach the goal? You wander aimlessly all over. If you don't know where you're going to begin with, then how do you know that you'll reach the goal? First you have to know what the goal is. How are you guaranteed? If you're stupid enough, if you want to go to New York, you're so stupid you get on the train to San Francisco, that means you don't know where you're going. You don't know what the goal is. Similarly, if you don't know what the goal of life is, then how can you expect that just by wandering aimlessly here and there and trying this, trying that it will take you to the goal? You don't even know what the goal is.
But who decides what the right direction is?
The standard is what Krishna likes, not what I like or you like. Therefore you have all this depravity, all this insanity, and all this liberal, that if you like it, it's okay, you're okay, I'm okay. Leading the world to hell. There's no standard.
front of the Delorme Guest House, the home for the retired. And it is a question by many people, what will you do with your devotees and your movement when they reach the age of retirement?
Well, according to the Vedic tradition, it's proper when you become older that you should retire to the holy dhams or spiritual places and develop your love for God. Not that the old age you cling tenaciously to some powerful position, or you're an old lady, wrinkled, and you wear clothes like a young girl and bleach your hair and put on makeup and go trying to pick up young men. That is not the purpose of old age. Old age, you have to grow old. So Prabhupada said you should grow old like a gentleman. And growing old like a gentleman means you slowly extricate yourself from your material conditioning, your material habits, and you develop your love for Krishna, and you prepare yourself for dying.
Now, why is it that we do not see many old people in your movement today?
Well, it's not because we don't want old people, but in this Western world, our movement is young, so is new. And the old people are conditioned to so many bad habits, it's very difficult for them to break those bad habits. But in India, you'll see that most of the old people are devotees of Krishna. One thing, Prabhupada said, retired life is not meant that you retire and you play checkers and you go walking along the beach and you go fishing and you play croquet. That is not the purpose of retired life. The purpose of retired life is to prepare yourself for death. That is intelligent. We have experience from within our heart that by chanting Hare Krishna, all of your illusion is dispelled and you become happy, you become joyful.
So that is all you do all day is chant?
That's all we do. Chant Hare Krishna and tell people...
That isn't boring for you?
No. That should be a sign to you. That how is it that these people are able to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare, over and over and over, and they always are happy. You ask any reporter, any people, that they say that the Hare Krishna, they're always bright-faced.
But if everyone in society is to do that, how is society going to go on if everyone becomes a Hare Krishna?
The society will go on very joyfully. That's how the society will go on. Everyone will do their work, but they'll be satisfied in their work. They'll be joyful in their work.
It may be said that since your philosophy emanates from India, why is it not working there?
The system works, but the people are not following the system due to atheistic government. Therefore, in India, one asks, why in India do they have so much famine? They seem to have more troubles than anyone in the whole world. They got troubles. Now, why is that? Because they are sinning in knowledge. There's reaction to sinful activities. The reaction for one who sins in ignorance is not as severe as the reaction for one who sins in knowledge. When you have knowledge and you still go ahead and commit that activity knowing that it is sinful, then you have to suffer much more severe reaction. Prabhupada said that you Americans, you have all of these opulences. If you don't utilize it to develop your Krishna consciousness, your empire will fall. He said the Mughal Empire has fallen, the British Empire has fallen, and the American Empire will also fall. But if we take advantage of all this opulence and prestige around the world to influence the world to become Krishna conscious, he said, then your empire will never fall. So this is the result of good karma. You have all the advantages for developing your spiritual life here. Nice weather, everyone is attractive, nice environment, there's so much wealth, no one has to suffer poverty, no difficulties, no extreme difficulties. So every opportunity due to good karma, take advantage of it to develop your Krishna consciousness.